An American think tank has warned that North Korea's Yongbyong nuclear plant could possibly be at risk due to the recent flooding in the Korean peninsula. The Yongbyong nuclear plant is located on the banks of the river Yongbyong, around 100 kilometers from Pyongyang. Satellite images published by 38 North show that the cooling pumps at the Yongbyong could have sustained damage in these floods. Now, the images date back to a 5-day period between the 7th and the 11th of August. Now, according to 38 North, there was flooding further downstream from where the nuclear plant is located. While the 5-megawatt reactor appears to be safe, the same cannot be said of the cooling pumps. Now, without fully operational pump houses, nuclear reactors cannot be cooled down, rendering them useless. The reactor at Yongbyong can reportedly be used to produce weapons-grade plutonium, but it has not been operational for some time now. In addition to the reactor, the facility is home to a uranium enrichment plant and an experimental light water reactor that is yet to go online. Now, the Korean peninsula is experiencing its longest rainy spell in recent memory. The rains have triggered landslides and floods in both North and South Korea. State television has been running footage of senior leaders in North Korea distributing aid in the flood-hit areas. But there has been no mention of any damage to the nuclear reactor from either Pyongyang or Seoul. Now, Bruce Harrison is joining us live from Seoul for more on this. Good afternoon to you, Bruce. The warning that North Korea's Yongbyong nuclear plant could possibly be at risk due to these floods, this is very concerning.
Well, good evening from Seoul. You mentioned those heavy rains that have brought the floods across the Korean peninsula. I'm lucky right now that it's not raining. It has been nonstop. It has been an incredible amount of water that shut down a lot of operations here in the south and obviously raised some concerns in the north based off the satellite images we're seeing from Johns Hopkins University 38 North Institute. Now, you mentioned the reactors on the banks of this river. One, we don't know if it's operated for some time. The other, we don't believe it's come online yet. But despite that, this flooding and the images we've seen indicate that if there was operational facilities in the future, they would be forced to be shut down because this could interfere with the cooling tanks. And ultimately what that could lead to, if there isn't a shutdown in an extreme weather situation, would be a nuclear disaster of some kind. So yes, it is concerning based on this imagery. We don't know exactly the extent of the damage. North Korea has not commented on this, and the Unification Ministry, rather the South Korean government here, did not comment on the 38 North report as well. But those images do show having flooding along the banks of the Yongbyong, which could in the future, yes, be a potential risk, according to this report, for North Korea's most well-known nuclear facility, Yongbyong.
Right, and as you have said, there has then been no mention of any damage, no confirmation to the same from either Pyongyang or Seoul.
That's right. I mean, North Korea hasn't commented on this facility. That's not unlike the North when it comes to the secrecy of their facilities. They hold that very close. It's interesting, we don't know exactly the capabilities of Yongbyong at this time, the ability to produce nuclear fuel, because North Korea is so secretive. This was actually the facility North Korean leader Kim Jong-un bargained with when he met President Trump in Hanoi in 2019, said, we'll shut down much of this facility if you agree to some sanctions easing. Trump balked and said, no, we want you to begin the dismantlement of all of your nuclear facilities. So we don't know the capabilities of this facility. It's believed there are other facilities operational in North Korea that may make even Yongbyong insignificant or useless overall in the production of nuclear fuel for nuclear weapons. Still, that does not dismiss the risk or concerns we've seen based on extreme weather conditions in North Korea that could impact Yongbyong. So yes, we have to be cautious about what's happening there with the weather and the impact it could have on those facilities, because any kind of nuclear disaster wouldn't just impact the North, it would impact the South Korea, the southern half of the peninsula, as well as the region.
Bruce, thank you very much for that report. Bruce Harrison bringing us the latest there.